Today's task is going to involve reviewing the Volunteer Tracker standard email and messaging. Many of the emails are set kind of with the standard message, but you can customize much of this. And although we're not going to cover all of these emails, we are going to cover the ones that most customers will want to customize. And so in this task is this Volunteer Tracker email and messaging customization guide. So in your attachment in the email, you just open this up in Word, and let me just show you what we're looking for here. So there's just a table of contents that will indicate to you which items we're going to want to look at. And so I'm going to scroll down through this and just show you an example of this. So the first section are screen message customizations. For example, when a volunteer fills out their application online, at the very bottom of the application is an authorization and disclosure statement that you can customize. And typically these are things like you just want somebody to know that they're authorizing a background check, or that they may not be eligible to volunteer if they have criminal offenses. Whatever it is that, this is typically what you might think is policy or legal information that you want your volunteer to indicate that they agree to. And so in each of these sections on the left hand side, we'll explain to you what this message or email is about. In the middle, in the green, is our standard messaging as it's set up on your system by default. Sometimes we provide a screenshot of how this might look on the screen to your users. And then in the right column, you can indicate your authorization message. Now, if there's no change, you can just simply say no change, which means you're going to accept the default setting that we have. However, if you'd like to make some changes, the easiest thing to do, if you want to use any of what we have, you can certainly copy it and paste it here, and then make your, changes, additions, whatever that may be here. And do note that you can, if you'd like to use, I'm going to put this in black just for example, and let's say you wanted to make a note here, be sure, whatever it is you want to say. If you want that to show like in bold or red, many of the messages will allow us to do that. Now, not all of them. This particular message, it all shows up in red, but in some of the ones below, if you want to indicate that, if it's possible, we will certainly do that formatting for you in the Volunteer Tracker. So that's your authorization message. So you would just simply complete what you want there. And then also in this particular case, there is a hyperlink that you can include on that section, for example, to a handbook or background policies if you don't want to try to put all of this in the box. And so you could simply just put your link here, and we'll include that as well. So what you'll need to do is go through each one of these sections. So if I scroll down again, this is the custom message on the application, which in this case you can see that the custom message on the application provides instructions or other disclaimers at the top of the volunteer application. And so our standard message is just very simple, but we've provided an example from one of our customers that provides a link to their web page or to their handbook, and some of the information. We do give you some tips about some of the things you might include in one of these sections. So in this particular case, what to expect after applying, links to any handbooks, videos, or other content that you want the volunteer to review, or any other pertinent information to a prospective volunteer that you would want them to know. So again, on the right hand side, you will just simply make your modifications or adjustments here. Okay, so again, here's one on renewal, if your volunteers are set for background checks to expire. So you'll simply just go through this document and answer the questions on the right hand side after reviewing the left and middle sections. If I scroll down a little bit further, there are a handful of email notifications that can be customized. For example, the first one is the volunteer approval email. This is sent when a volunteer is approved, and so this keeps you from having to make phone calls to let volunteers know that they have been approved. done automatically on the system. If you would like your primary or secondary coordinators to be notified, there is an indication here too. So these messages can be customized, but also can be indicated who will receive those messages. Now, so you'll have to determine if you want like maybe a primary. A lot of times people will have their primary coordinators get a copy of that email so they'll know when a volunteer is approved. You may or may not want your secondary coordinators to get that. So again, here is some information you might want to include in the approval email. We have a very basic thank you for volunteering. That probably should be something like this. Your application to volunteer has been approved, and you will most likely want to expand on that. So any next steps required, maybe an encouragement to sign up for opportunities, maybe thank you for volunteering, how important it is to your organization. Any URLs or links to training videos can be included here, so you'll just want to let us know what you want over in this section. And so basically we just need you to fill this document out. When you are finished with it, you can email that to your implementation manager, or you can use the email you received from Beyond reminding you about this task to attach the completed document there and mark the task done. And then we'll do the setup for you in Volunteer Tracker and move on to the next step. Thank you very much for your attention to this.